another episode of Roll or Die. We bring you the big names on this show, and we have for you, if you have not heard of her already, keep your ears and eyes out, because she is the next big thing in Jiu-Jitsu for women in Australia. We have today Nadia Frankland. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. And you're a bit of a surfer too, Nadia, eh? You got a surfboard up the back there?
Yeah, whenever I can. Haven't been for a while actually, but yeah.
Awesome. That's great. Peninsula.
You're down, you're down in the peninsula, yeah? Whereabouts are you?
In Mount Eliza. So
yeah good surf down there?
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah. Not in Mount Eliza, but a bit further down.
Yeah.
About half an hour from where I am.
Yeah, so you've been kicking around for a little while, but I guess I suppose let's start with your most recent big performance, or one of your more recent ones, at the ADCC trials. You took out Hope Douglas, Margot Cicerelli, and you very nearly won the ticket against Adele Fornerino. So tell us about that.
Yeah, no, that was crazy. I wasn't actually expecting to get that far through. But after, I think I won on points in the match with Hope. And then after that, I was feeling pretty confident going into the match with Margot, and then I managed to get the submission in the overtime, which is pretty good. And then, in the finals, in the last 10 seconds, I had the anaconda on, but just ran out of time, unfortunately, and lost on points.
Okay, you need to tell us all right now, how do we beat Adele? Because that's like really important. I need to know.
I don't know. I've had two matches against her now. I've had another match with her on Boa.
Yep.
She got me with the same thing, the closed guard sweep.
Yeah, right. So you don't have the answer yet, but you're going to get the answer one day. I can feel that. You're the up-and-comer. She was the up-and-comer not that long ago. She's still a baby herself, but, this is the battle of the young, demons. The demons out there. Awesome.
Yeah, so you're 19, Nadia, and I think Adele's 21 or 22. So, I mean, like, your combined age still doesn't actually equal mine or Antoine's ages, to be honest. But it's really good. Like I said, it's really promising for the future of Jiu-Jitsu in Australia. And how did you kind of prepare for that, for the trials? Like, going in, I suppose you were a bit of an underdog, and like you said, you were not expecting to get that far. What's your sort of mental prep like in the lead up to a big tournament like that?
Well, because it was the first big one, I wasn't putting any pressure on myself. Like, I just went in with no expectations, and I think that helped as well. I remember my coach said before, just go in and ruin some people's day, and that's what I did.
Yeah, you sure did. So do you think that differs at all to normal comps? Like, do you sort of have any expectations on a smaller comp or anything like that, or not really?
I think, like, I try not to put too much on myself, but there is a bit more, like, because it is my belt and my weight division. This one was like all belts, so there wasn't really any pressure at all. With the other ones, I do put a little bit more pressure on myself, I think.
Yeah. When did you get started in Jiu-Jitsu, and what was that kind of environment like? If to be a fierce competitor like you, there must be there must have been, like, you must have got hooked pretty young, or what was it like?
I started in 2015. I was about 12, 13. And before that, I'd done gymnastics and competed in gymnastics, so I was kind of used to the competition already.
Yeah.
I think I did my first comp only like just under a year, I think, after training. I never really thought anything of it. I was just used to the competition, I guess.
That's Olivia Giles' formula. That's how she came about. She's an absolute weapon as well. So I think that's a good platform, like either wrestling or gymnastics. One of those two, you got a good base. Yeah.
And how was that for you? Like, a 12 or 13-year-old girl, were you just in with the kids, or did they put you in with the adults, or how did you go?
I started off in the kids class, and I think I did that for a couple of years, and then I think it was about 14 or 15 when I started doing the adults class as well, and then I moved to the adults class.
How was that? Because I mean, I know for me as an adult, as a grown woman, it's quite intimidating. How was that as a 14 or 15-year-old girl?
I don't remember thinking too much of it actually. I thought, I don't know, I just did it. I know my older sister, we started at the same time, and when we got to that point of going to the adults class, she didn't like it very much. Like, she didn't like rolling with the men, but I didn't think anything of it.
It's probably less intimidating in a lot of ways, I think. I don't know why, but I feel like there's just less impressions. There's less life history, to kind of work through the younger you get into these sorts of things and get exposed to things. I reckon it usually works out great, I'm guessing. Yeah. Awesome.
And how was the environment for you there? Like, it must be pretty supportive to have yourself coming through as a junior and then into the adult with your coach. Like, how has that been for you, Nadia?
Yeah, it's been like, it was very supportive. And when I was going to the adults class, there were a lot of girls as well in it, which definitely helped, I think. But no, everyone's super supportive, and
yeah, great.
So I'm trying to get my niece into jiu-jitsu at the moment. She's like 19, right? And she's coming along to my, my very, very beginning classes. But what would you tell kind of particularly girls? Like, there are some things going on there, it can be very daunting and intimidating, but if you're telling a friend about it, like, especially like she's got really long nails, she's into that sort of stuff. Like, how do you kind of cross the bridge and span the bridge of getting people involved in jiu-jitsu if they're not yet and they don't, and you want them to?
I've actually got no idea.
Cool.
I guess I'm not. I don't know.
It's fine if you don't have an answer. I'm looking for tips here in case you can't tell. Yeah.
So you don't feel anything strange about the fact of like grappling with men, like being in that close contact and things like that? That didn't put you off at all? You were really comfortable from the get-go?
Never, not really been an issue for me. So I guess it's
My niece said to me, "Will there be hot guys there?" And I was like, "Should I say yes? Should I say no?" And she said, "I want you to say no. If you say no, then I'll come." So she doesn't want hot guys there. That much I know, right? There can be
Must be too distracting. Maybe too distracting for her.
I think she doesn't want to look bad in front of them. So if they're just all old, crusty people like me, she doesn't have to, put on a show.
Try to impress them. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
I can't help it. I've got this visual in my head right now, the three of us, in like the Hunger Games, and Katniss is being like interviewed by I don't know. Have you ever seen the Hunger Games? Is that something you kids watch? I don't know. But anyway, you're Katniss, right? And like Kim and I are these interviewers, and you're about to go out there and compete. I can't get that visual out of my head. I'm going to find an image of that and put it up with the podcast, because I just can't help feel like this is that scene.
And so Nadia, like, you did the ADCC trials obviously in Nogi. What's your preference? You're focusing more on the Nogi now? Do you still like the gi? What do you think?
Recently it's been mainly Nogi. I still train like a bit of gi, but like the majority is Nogi. It's found it a lot more fun.
Is that because it's faster and you can kind of slip around more, or what?
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, faster, more scrambles. Yeah, I feel like there's a bit more like stalling and stuff in gi. But
yeah, for sure.
Did you still train? How often do you train gi at all?
We do three classes a week, I'm sure. Yeah, and then the rest is Nogi.
Yeah. Still, do you think it's still an important factor, like as far as your training is concerned? Is it?
I think so. Yeah, like I compete still in both. I just prefer Nogi if I had to choose one. Yeah,
sure.
And after this, you're going to be rushing off to teach the kids class. How's that for you? Like, because if you don't mind me saying, you're kind of just a little bit older than a kid yourself. Is that kind of like makes it easier or makes it a bit harder for you, do you reckon?
I don't actually usually teach just kids classes. I'm just helping out today because it's short on people. But
Okay.
yeah,
Well,
I don't usually take them.
When Macca was training at Dominance, Adele was one of his coaches, and she was super young as well. Like I think it translates really, and so same with Demi, and same with Lorna. Like they were all coaching Macca. Like they're all really young themselves, and I just think it translated. I think it works better, to be honest with you. Like there was just not as much of that kind of gap. So yeah, I liked it. I liked it a lot.
And Nadia, what about coming up through the ranks, like when you were 14, 15, 16? How was Jiu-Jitsu kind of seen for you with your friends at school, with your peers? Like, was it a little bit, because I know like myself as an adult, it's a little bit odd to do Jiu-Jitsu as a female, or was it just like, yeah, no big deal, all good?
I mean, yeah, like my close friends, like kind of it's like no big deal, but some other people, I think people get confused by what it is. They think it's like karate or taekwondo, and you're trying to explain it and then it sounds
You're going to Jiu-Jitsu today?
Yeah, I got a lot of that. Some of the teachers were like, how's that? Yeah. I'm like,
wax on, wax off. Yeah. Actually, on that note, did you watch? Have you been watching all of the Karate Kid reboots and all that sort of stuff on Netflix? You into all that? What's it called?
Cobra Kai.
Cobra Kai. Yeah. You into Cobra Kai?
I think I watched like the first season of it. So.
Oh wow! So you're not then. You don't even. You can't.
Too young, Anton.
You're not into it. You got to watch all of it.
Yeah, I think it's more for our generation, Anton. That's more for people who remember the original.
My niece, so into it, man. I can't tell you. She watches them on repeat. She's so into it. So I'm not sure.
So, Nadia, what was it that got you into Jiu-Jitsu specifically? Sorry, did you answer that already? Like, was it something, or did you just kind of watch the UFC and see it kicking around, or how did you find it itself?
I had no idea what it was actually, but I wanted to do karate because my friends did karate, and my dad used to do it, so he brought us to, like, my sister and I to watch a lesson. And then
your dad used to do Jiu-Jitsu?
Yeah, he did it for a bit. I think he did a lot of everything, like karate and a lot of martial arts. But he brought us down and watched a class, and then we had a trial class, and then just did it ever since.
How have they been, your parents, about it? Like having daughters doing it, they're cool, like no big deal, or?
Yeah, no, they really like it, I think.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I wish there was more comps. Do you wish there was more comps? Like that's something which I really feel about Jiu-Jitsu. Like I wish, like watching my son play basketball every weekend and compete, I feel like Jiu-Jitsu practitioners, especially at a young age, miss out on that weekly competition feel.
Yeah, I mean, the rest of the year for me is pretty busy with comps. There's one I don't know, I think every weekend might be a bit too much, but
I think a basketball game, Anton, is a bit different to an individual doing like a Jiu-Jitsu comp by themselves. So, I
would have thought that, but like seeing the level of fatigue that these guys go through, and they're doing it on repeat, and then they're doing it every day. Like obviously that you're not hyperextending joints and doing those sorts of things, but I do see it's intense. You know what I mean? Like especially if they're doing well, they'll run a lot of minutes. They'll be running kilometers, sprinting kilometers every game and that sort of stuff. And I know that wrestlers in the US, they compete every single weekend. So that's how I also relate it. Like I think in some ways wrestling is harder than Jiu-Jitsu as far as its toll on the body, and they do it every weekend. So I just kind of have this feeling like, yeah, you're like, you're in the elite kind of area of competition, but I think there's plenty of other people who are young and just missing out on iron sharpens iron, building the confidence, getting out on the mats every weekend. I feel there's a gap.
Yeah, actually I do. When I was a few years ago when I started competing, I remember there not being too many for me to do. But I think I only did like 4 a year or something.
How did you become?
There's definitely more now.
There's a lot more now.
So how did you become so sharp then? How did you become so strong and such a great grappler without those opportunities as much, as there are now?
I think just training like a lot consistently has helped. I think, just training a lot, really.
Yeah.
Do you think, do you do anything outside of jiu-jitsu for your jiu-jitsu? Like, do you weight train? Do you do wrestling? What's your supplementary stuff look like?
Well, just recently I've started to do some strength and conditioning stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I started off just doing it to fix my shoulders, but now I'm trying to do it more consistently. I find it helps a lot.
What would a typical week look like, sorry, Anton, for you for training? Like, how often do you train? Do you train just once a day or multiple times a day, or how much are you actually getting in?
Well, so a few times a week I go up to Absolute in St Kilda and train there. So Mondays, or whenever I can, like get up there, Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, I train twice a day.
Mm-hmm.
So in the mornings in St Kilda and then at Peninsula at night. And then, so Monday to Saturday is my, I train if I can.
Yeah, that's awesome. Also, what about your training? Like, I think for me, one of the reasons why I've never become a great competitor in jiu-jitsu is because of the way that I train. Like, I don't really have this kill or be killed mentality. How do you train? Like, what do you try and get out of your training?
What about you say?
Like, do you go hard, I think is what he's trying to say, or do you just treat each training session as just like a learning thing where you're drilling, or how do you mix it up?
Some of them, some sessions I do go a bit harder just to kind of get like that competition feel in a way, I guess. And then sometimes I just focus more on technique or like problems that I need to fix.
Yeah, awesome.
Depends how much energy I have.
So you've had a really successful run at comps. Do you have any kind of prep that you do like on the day? What does your competition day look like? Do you have like a set routine that you have, like a playlist you listen to? You go and do a certain sort of number of things, or do you just kind of wing it?
I know it's not watching Cobra Kai or Hunger Games. I'm sure it's not one of those two things.
No, I try and forget about the competition like a few days before because I don't like thinking about it too much because that's when I get a bit nervous. But I don't really listen to music actually before.
Do you visualize kind of what you're going to be doing in your game plan and things like that, or you're just pretty loose? What's going on?
It depends on my opponents on the day. Like if I know their game, then I try and like visualize what I'm going to do. But if I don't know what they're going to do, I usually just, I try not to think about it too much and just go on and do what I feel is right in the moment.
Yeah, awesome.
Did you want to, we should have probably prepared this earlier, Anton, but do you want to maybe look at some of Nadia's fights? Are they on Flow Grappling, the ones from the ADCC trials? I want to log in with my account and then we can break down some of them so we can see, maybe you can sort of run us through what's going on for you with some of those, because they think, or even like the Boa match, like, can you tell us anything more about when you faced Adele the second time around at Boa? Did you have a different kind of strategy, or what happened there?
Yeah, so because in the finals, I got stuck in a close guard where she does that hip bump sweep. So I was telling myself just not to get into close guard. But
if I'm nodding, it's because I've been there too, Nadia. So yeah, I hear you. Yeah, go on.
No, on the day though, I don't think I performed as well as I could have. Because I was doing.
You look pretty good out there on Boa to me, I think. I'm just going to send you my password, Anton, because I had to actually change it because someone was using my Flow Grappling account for their own means when I was like, hang on a minute, this is my Flow Grappling account and I can't watch these trials because someone's logged in with the details I gave them. But yes, I just sent you the password.
I got it.
Yeah.
I got it.
Cheers. Thanks.
Yeah, cool.
And if I see that's been used again, I'll know it was you that's
It
logging
was
in
not
when
me.
I'm trying to
It was
watch.
never, no, it was not me. I can
You know,
assure you.
it's bad. Flow grappling just kicks you out.
Oh,
Like I'm
wow.
like, wait, this is my account here. Someone else is watching. I can't even watch it. So I had to change my password. So whoever that was out there that was stealing my account, I'm onto you.
Oh,
And I've changed my
wow.
password.
It's probably not going to work because, well, it's asking me for a whole bunch of information now.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. We
Oh,
might have
damn
to do
it.
that. We might have to get Nadia back another time.
We
Well,
might. Sorry, Nadia. We are a professional organisation, but we just probably didn't plan this that well.
yeah.
So,
But I'm definitely keen to
unless
know, like,
I could do it.
when you do get nervous, Nadia, because I do as well when I compete, and like I've been so nervous, it's been ridiculous. But now I've kind of got it to a point I can step out on the mats, I can do my game to some degree. But how do you deal with nerves? Like, what has been, what has, when they must show up? How do they show up when you get nervous, and then how do you deal with that?
I usually get nervous either like a few hours before the comp or like as I'm waiting on the side
Yeah.
to step on the mat.
Yeah.
But once I'm on the mat, like they kind of just go, and I kind of just like not black out, like my mind just kind of goes blank.
Really?
Yeah, like when I step off the mat, sometimes I have no idea what just happened.
No idea. Yeah. So how do you do your game when you have no idea? How do you compete so well when you don't know what's happening? Like when you're not present, you're in some other, or are you fully present? Like how does that work?
I think I don't know, it just comes to me in the moment, I guess.
Right.
I just do what I feel is right. Sometimes, I mean, like I'm present, I just don't focus on anything that's happening like around me.
Do people scare you in those moments though, or are you just fully focused on the mechanics of excellent jiu-jitsu? Like, are you worried about, positions you get into or anything like that? Do you care, or are you just going for it and just kind of looking for the best options?
Yeah, sometimes I get into places I don't want to be, and then I start to panic a little bit, but usually I can kind of control myself and think about how to get out of there.
That's awesome.
How about if I share my screen, Anton? I
Yeah.
think I can do that.
Yeah.
Let me try. Oh, you've disabled participants screen sharing.
I can
you
turn that on in a heartbeat. Here we go.
Yeah.
So you become the host.
I become the host.
And the other host.
Share my screen. Here we
Mhm.
go.
Yay.
Is that happening now?
That's happening now.
All right. So can we see?
Oh, yeah.
This is the one with Margot. So you stood for a little bit, but just while we were talking.
Talk us through this. Talk us through what you see, Nadia.
What was I doing? I think I like my favorite pass is probably the knee cut pass. So I think I was just trying to go for that and flatten her hips down because I feel comfortable from there. But
yeah, I mean, Margot Cicerelli has got like a world-class guard. Yeah. This is I don't think people at top level black belts can pass that guard. So I mean, is it what's going through your head right now?
I think I was also just what am I doing?
There's a lot of hand fighting going on here by the look of it. And then like what are your thoughts about like the leg entanglement game? Do you feel pretty confident of that, or is that what you were looking for? Or
I wasn't like looking for it, but I was comfortable there. So if it did end up there, I wasn't gonna like worry about it too much. But I knew, like I was thinking she would look for like a bolo or something, which she might have. I don't remember exactly.
Yeah, she loves that game. So yeah, I guess that was the thing. So were you happy to stay on top there with her, because even though her guard is so strong, you still felt pretty comfortable about the prospect of passing?
Yeah, I feel comfortable in that position there with like the legs, like the hips.
Yeah, even with that knee shield in, you didn't worry too much that she could set something up?
Not too much. Like I do like passing from there.
Yeah.
Got a kick to the chest there.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah. Because I guess you don't mind me saying, like, she was definitely the favourite in this match, maybe for the whole division, actually. Like, I think she was kind of a last-minute entry. I wasn't sure. And then I think because she travels around a lot, she just sort of was in Sydney at the time, yeah. So she entered kind of maybe hadn't planned to or whatever. And I mean, she's medaled at most international events. So you were not feeling intimidated at all. You just kind of like, okay, I've beaten Hope already, so I feel pretty good here. Or
yeah, after the match with Hope, like I was pretty confident. And like I was just telling myself like there's no pressure on me to win at all.
Yeah. So she got a pretty good. Oh no, she didn't quite get the sweep there. Like that was some really good balance. So that gymnastics background there that you had to keep you balanced.
What does the Peninsula Club specialize in? Like, obviously, you get a lot of the footlock stuff out of the St Kilda Club. You know, that's what one of their strengths. What do you get out of the Peninsula Club?
Pretty good at wrestling.
Right.
Yeah, I would say, like compared to some other.
That's so important. That wrestling makes such a huge difference, doesn't it? Wow.
Yeah.
And you don't feel like uncomfortable at all there doing wrestling as a smaller female? Like
it is harder, but like then moving from like wrestling with big guys to wrestling with the girls, it makes it a lot easier.
Like wrestling's designed by its very nature to be ridiculously hard. So the harder you make it, the easier it gets everywhere else.
Speaking of, here we go. You've just got a single leg there, although I don't know if you got any points for that. So
come on, the ref's walking over.
No,
it's really quite laggy.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, unfortunately. Maybe it won't be recording.
Yeah, okay. Hang on. Let me see if I skip ahead a little bit, because I think, is this the one that went to overtime?
Yeah, it goes to overtime. I think in the last 40 seconds is where the.
All right, hang on. Let me just skip ahead to that then.
Action in the last few seconds. Cool.
Yeah. So we just got the last minute. Coming up. Come on. So you just like go for everything here in that last minute sort of thing. So this is it. This is where you just took you just saw that opportunity and just
jumped on it. Yeah.
Oh, did you tap her?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm staying away from your RNCs, buddy.
Yeah. So that was probably one of the upsets, I guess, of the whole tournament, even with the guys division. Yeah, because she's, as I said, probably one of the top women in the world. At stop sharing now. How do I stop sharing? Here we go. Yeah. So thanks for doing that for us. I mean, I don't know if you wanted to go over any of the other ones as well, but that's for anybody that is actually watching our podcast rather than just listening to it. Take a look, because that's some just really nice jiu-jitsu there that you did.
Yeah. And how old are you actually, Nadia, if I can ask?
How old am I?
Yeah.
19.
19. Wow. Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
There's so many people not doing much. Do you look around other 19-year-olds and kind of, I don't know, compare yourself a little bit? Do you play that game and you're like, should I be doing more of this and less of this, or should they be doing more of this and less of that, or are you in that space, or are you just on your own mission?
Yeah, I don't really compare myself, I guess. Like most other people my age are at uni, but that doesn't interest me. So I'm just I try not to compare myself.
Yeah, that's good. That's real good.
And what's next for you? Have you got any plans for like the rest of the year, either jiu-jitsu or outside of jiu-jitsu? What's coming up?
Nogi Worlds is the next thing.
4 months,
I think I'll most likely do that. And then just as well. But that's the focus at the moment.
So mostly training Nogi.
Yeah.
How do you fund that stuff? Like going to Worlds and whatever? Do you fundraisers or do you work, or what do you?
Yeah, I work at a brewery. I make pizzas. So.
You heard it here first, people.
Yeah, good for carb loading after training. I just one for me. Yeah.
Yeah. That's so when I'm not training, I'm usually working, I guess.
Making pizzas. And speaking of weight, like how, if you don't mind me asking, like how does that work for you? Do you have to cut weight to make your divisions, or do you walk around fairly comfortably?
It depends which division. Like for trials and BOA, I had to cut to under 60. I usually walk
Yep.
around at about 64.
Yeah. How was that for you? Was that an easy thing to do, or do you have a difficult time? Or
I found both of them. Well, the second one, when I cut for bow, that one was probably the hardest one I've done. Both
how do you
times,
do it?
mainly like cutting out like carbs and sodium and then water loading.
Yep.
No,
Yeah.
eating it through.
Like 6 weeks before.
Yeah.
It made it a bit harder. Yeah, no, it's hard working like with food. You like see it,
And then also cutting weight. Yeah, that must be super hard.
yeah.
So that's why you win, yeah, because you're super hangry and you've worked around all this food for so long that when the time comes for the
Yeah.
comp, you're just ready to kill someone.
Yeah.
I feel like I've shared this before, but when Macca competed, my boy, at like over in America, I entered him into the wrong division, and this poor little 8-year-old boy, he had to cut weight for his match, and I felt so bad. Like here I am, and his mum was there. We weren't together, like we're not together anymore. And she's like, "You must, you're father of the year right there, and getting your kid to cut weight as an 8-year-old." But it was bad. But we won the match.
Couldn't you change the division? But you didn't realize until later.
So I don't think so. I don't know. Like this was a long time ago. This is like 10 years ago or something now. So I don't know.
Yeah. So Nadia, would Nogi Worlds be your first international comp, or have you been overseas to compete previously?
No, I'll be the first international one. I've only competed in Australia so far.
Cool.
Yeah. Awesome.
You'll smash it, buddy. You will smash it. I got a feeling about you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
No, that it's really good for Australian Jiu-Jitsu to have someone like you coming up and just taking it to, as I said, you beat 2 world-class black belts there at the trials and gave Adele a pretty tough run as well in both times. So it's pretty cool to see that there's someone that's coming up, and hopefully there'll be many more victories for you and lots more in the pipeline. So
Plus, you've got that Aussie surfer girl kind of look. You know what I mean? Like, there's something about you that would be really packageable to the overseas market. I reckon you'll have no problems with sponsorships and all that sort of stuff. No drama. It's great, and you talk well. I mean, to come on a show and talk when you're 19 years old, I don't know many people.
We're pretty scary people too, so understand. Well, Anton is, not me.
Yeah, that's right.
Do you have a sponsor at the moment, Nadia? Have you got sponsors?
Yeah, I'm sponsored by Atlas at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Do you have any final parting words? Anything to say to our listeners out there, particularly, people that I don't know, maybe girls that are coming up that you might want to suggest some encouragement or something for, or anything?
Parents of 19-year-olds.
Yes.
I can't think of anything.
Totally fine. There's no drama. Definitely. Sorry, you're going to say something. I cut you off. Go on, please.
No, I can't think of anything.
Okay, yeah. I just want to say I'm just blown away by who you are and what you're up to. It's just like inspirational to see people. Like, people talk about your generation like there's something missing, but in my view, it's completely the opposite. You know what I mean? Like, you guys are super intelligent, switched on, getting stuff, taking on the world. That's awesome to see. And it's a real pleasure to kind of get to chat with you and find out more. Thank you.
Yeah, so we will let you get going and get to that kids class now, but thank you so much again for taking the time, and for all our listeners out there, keep your eye on Nadia Frankland, because if you haven't seen her yet, you will be seeing her in the future, no doubt. And we'll have this podcast out pretty soon, so if you could share it on your networks, that would be really good for us, so that we can hopefully grow our audience.
Indeed.
Thanks for having me.
Cheers.
You're welcome. Okay, see you soon.
Bye, everybody.